The Ring is directed by Gore Verbinski, written by Aaron Kruger. It's based on the original Japanese film directed by Hideo Nakata, which in turn was based on the novel by Koji Suzuki. And this movie stars Naomi Watts, Martin Henderson, and David Dorfman. And The Ring is about a journalist and her ex-husband who have to figure out the secrets of a mysterious videotape in 7 days or they're going to die. Now, I actually watched the original Japanese Ring before I watched the American version of The Ring. I watched the original Ring like way before. I don't remember everything about it, but I do remember that I thought it was great and I thought it was really creepy. With this American version of The Ring, I think it's intensely atmospheric with a really unique visual style, but it does get a little too convoluted and underwritten in some parts. I'm gonna start with a negative here because I want to make something clear, an issue that I have with both the American version of The Ring and the original Japanese. My issue with this franchise is really in terms of story and character. It is refreshing on one hand that The Ring is really more of a mystery film and they really commit to being more mystery than horror in the first installments at least of both the Japanese and the American franchises. And it is an effective campfire story. However, it just doesn't, go any deeper than that in my opinion. As a horror film, I'm not that huge a fan of it because I don't feel like the story really means anything. Like a lot of great horror is always allegorical, it always means something else. Here, people talk about how The Ring is supposed to be about fears of technology and stuff, but even in the original Ring, I didn't really feel that. I don't think they quite earned that. And as they're solving the mystery both here and in the Japanese version, some puzzle pieces just seem to be sort of ambiguous for the sake of being ambiguous. Like all the puzzle pieces don't really fit in perfectly, so it isn't that satisfying of a mystery sometimes. And another issue I had with the Japanese version that I have more of a problem with here in the American version is that the characters really are very bland. Naomi Watts' character, Rachel, just sort of starts investigating, and I kind of wanted more of an emotional, impetus for her to start doing it. But direction is what made the first film great, and here Gore Verbinski, for the most part, really captures that sense of impending doom in every frame. Even when scary things aren't happening, you feel this shadow just looming over you, and it really does unsettle you and make you paranoid. For me, it's harder to make a consistently creepy horror movie than it is to make a sporadically scary one, and here he really pulls off the creep factor. However, what Hideo Nakata accomplished in the original Ring that Verbinski does not do here is hold back on some of the jump scares. There are unnecessary jump scares here. A lot of people will talk about that closet scene near the beginning and how it's one of the best jump scares ever. I do not think so at all. I think it's completely unnecessary. They didn't need jump scares like that because the visuals in this film are really effective on their own. The cinematography by Bojan Bazeli drenches everything in these metallic tones, which makes everything feel really cold and makes for some really stunning imagery that will genuinely get under your skin. And then when you get to see the tape itself in the movie, it is really, really disturbing, but in a very subtle way. It's all these images that don't seem to mean anything, they don't really line up, but they're very unnatural. So just that in itself is enough to be scary. Of course, the use of sound as well enhances the creep factor. This is generally a very quiet movie, so the smallest sounds get to you, and the sounds in the tape freak you out, and there's a particular scene with a horse that scared me because it just got really loud. Now, a lot of people complained that the original Ring was too slow, but for me it's a mystery film, so I appreciate the slow pace. Here it's edited by Craig Wood, and for me it's interesting how the slow pace is still made to feel urgent because they only have 7 days to do it. In terms of acting, Naomi Watts and Martin Henderson are good here. They don't really have a lot of character to work with, but they are effective in responding to the weird things happening around them. Initially they're in denial, and then their panic begins to grow, and then they just sort of accept their fate. And what I like is that the two of them have this sort of uneasy chemistry, but it's intentional because, they are awkward around each other, they are sort of estranged, and I thought that was a nice little dynamic that kind of mixed it up a bit, whereas in other horror movies, everyone's always friends with each other. However, David Dorfman, who plays Naomi Watts' character's son, really got on my nerves. I mean, he's supposed to be like a weird kid, but it always seemed like he was acting, like his eyes were really wide, and he spoke in a really strange way, so it was kind of annoying, I have to say. All in all, though, I do think The Ring is a pretty good movie. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as other horror remakes. I really think they're able to preserve at least the tone and the feel of the original Japanese, and kind of made it, more Western in a good way. But as with most horror sequels, that these guys dropped the ball really fast. I'm gonna talk about that soon. Alright, so those were my thoughts on The Ring. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Whatever you guys think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.